in 200-metre running. That's more like it. Keely Hodgkinson takes the silver. Josh is going to get there! Lightning strikes twice.
What a 9 days we had in Budapest at the World Athletics Championships, but the action does not stop as the Diamond League returns, starting here tonight in the beautiful city of Zurich. I'm Chetan Partak. I'll be bringing you all the action from the Letzigrund Stadium with a fast track and a sellout crowd. We have a great night ahead. And it's a busy few weeks following this Zurich meet, with the first event in China since 2019 happening on Saturday. You can see that here at 12 p.m. Brussels next up, that's on Friday the 8th over on BBC Three. And then we crown our Diamond League champions over the weekend of the 16th and 17th of September in Eugene. Lots to come, but some huge names in Zurich tonight. A world champion, Noah Lyles, leads the 200 metres field with fellow sprint medalist from Budapest, Zarnell Hughes. Sharika Jackson headlines the women's 200 metres alongside Britain's Daryl Neita. And Sha'Carri Richardson completes the sprint gold medalist hat-trick in the 100 metres. In the field, Mondo Duplantis got another gold in Budapest, but missed out on a world record. Might he have another go tonight? And the high jump promises much as new world champion Gianmarco Tamberi takes on his great friend and rival, Mutaz Barshim. Back on the track, Laura Muir will be looking to bounce back in the 800 metres. And how will Britain's new world champion Josh Kerr get on in his first race since claiming that 1500 metre gold? But first up, it's a stacked men's 400-metre hurdles with three-time world champion Karsten Warholm topping the field. So let's hand you to your commentators at the Letzigrund Stadium, Steve Cram and Tim Hutchings.
He's the silver medalist in Budapest. He's in very good form. And obviously with the lane inside Warholm, he's probably pretty happy. Alisson dos Santos, the third fastest man in history. Fifth in Budapest, a little below par for him, the Brazilian. He goes in 5, good lane draw for him too. There in 4 is Rashawn Clark. He set a world junior record by over half a second in his Budapest semi-final. Fantastic performance. He's still only 19, finished 4th, the Jamaican champion. He goes in lane 4. And there Roger Federer in the crowd enjoying the unfolding dramas here. We've had quite a few warm-up races and some field events already underway. CJ Allen goes in lane 3, leads the Diamond League road to the final. Great season he's had. So CJ Allen, only a semi-finalist in Budapest. Wilfried Hapiot of France took again a semi-finalist in Budapest, season 2, and then Julien Bonvin of Switzerland, a semi-finalist in Budapest, 3 times the Belgian, the Swiss champion, set a personal best European Championship semi-final last year. So what can he do here? Rai Benjamin, the bronze medalist from the USA, choosing to sit this one out. Bronze medalist from Budapest, that is. But Karen McMaster, well, hasn't raced a great deal this year. His nickname is Kai. Not many races at all before Budapest. Just a couple in June, a couple in July, but he got it right there. 4th in Tokyo, 4th in Doha back in 2019, but second to this man, Warholm, in Budapest just over a week ago. So Bonvin in 1 for Switzerland, Frenchman Hapiot in 2, CJ Allen in 3 for the USA, Clark of Jamaica 4, Dos Santos Brazil in 5, then McMaster goes in 6, the Commonwealth champion, Warholm in 7, Bassett in 8. Well, Warholm, second to top there out in lane 7, always attacks very aggressively through the first 150. Never really lets up, actually, although inside him, Kyron McMaster, wow. The man from the British Virgin Islands has had the audacity to move up onto the shoulder of Warholm, who will be strong over the second half. He always is, but this is unfamiliar territory perhaps for the Norwegian. In the white there, bottom of picture, McMaster right up alongside him and ahead of him, in fact, at the moment. Dos Santos going well inside them in 5-2. But Warholm surely can be stronger down the home straight, or can he? McMaster is committed down the first 300 metres, but now down the home straight, it is down to the running off the final barrier. Warholm unbeaten this year in major finals, but he's beaten here tonight in Zurich. Well, I think post-party fatigue can probably be explaining that one. McMaster took it to him, and all credit, I don't know why it's saying photo, it was clearly Karen McMaster who won there, and that is quite some upset. 47-27 for McMaster. He does have the silver medal from Budapest. Probably felt that maybe Warholm was vulnerable tonight, and his maybe became a certainty. Brilliantly executed run from him. Applied pressure, I reckon, to Warholm, who's not used to having anybody in his field of vision inside him over the first 150, and then really kept going and went so well, Steve, down the home straight. McMaster wins it 47-27 by 3 100s from Warholm and Dos Santos.
Yeah, sadly we lost Clark down the back straight, and Clark and McMaster were the two stories, if you like. The Jamaican and McMaster really coming to the fore of the World Championships. Not as good as Warholm, but tonight McMaster, it was all over that first two flights for me. Went, as you said to me, went so hard, got right onto Warholm, put him under so much pressure. Nice to see Dos Santos beginning to get a bit closer. Those injuries at the beginning of the season really have curtailed his year, and he may run better even as we get into September. But for Warholm, maybe just a week or two too much at the end of the season. I'll bet you he comes back, though he does not like getting beat. So McMaster wins it, not by much. And what was good off the final hurdle, you thought Warholm's going to come back at him, but he didn't. McMaster strengthened it out over the last 20 meters or so, kept that little half-a meter lead. Might not even have been that much, 300ths. But great to see the rivalry not extending beyond Benjamin Dos Santos. McMaster right back in there now. There'll be more from Rashawn Clark as well.
Well, expect the unexpected. Warholm beaten in the first race of our program tonight. Always have to do a retake of that, don't you? Karen McMaster, the winner in Zurich.
Well, yesterday in the Hauptbahnhof, in the main railway station downtown, a huge crowd. It was a great atmosphere. We're watching the women's pole vault. Sandy Morris has had a disappointing year. Managed to grab a season's best 476 in an unusual setting. Really did rise to the occasion. Disappointing World Championships for her. And it was a shared gold medal in Budapest between Katie Moon and Nina Kennedy, the two of them back on top again. Katie Moon looked to be going smoothly after a couple of first-time clearances, including this one at 481. Well, she passed at 486, and that left the way clear for Nina Kennedy. Wasn't able to go any higher, and Kennedy then attempted 491, a lifetime best indoors or outdoors. And the new world champion, also the Commonwealth champion last year, creating some more history for herself. She shared the gold medal with Moon in Budapest, but it was all about her last night in the Hauptbahnhof. 491, that's a meeting record as well, incidentally, as well as a new area record for the Australian. Really good competition, fantastic support they had last night. Season's best for Morris, new personal best and an area record for Kennedy.
Well, the women's triple jump concluded an hour or so ago here in Zurich. And Povea of Cuba in fine form this evening in round 3, going out to 14 meters 73. She'd opened with a modest 14.21 and then a no jump in the second round. 6th placer in Budapest. She ended up in 3rd place. In 2nd place, Shanika Ricketts is coming in the 3rd round for her too. The Jamaican, well, super consistent. Silver medalist in Eugene last year. 4th in Budapest, frustratingly just outside the medals. And remember, the Jamaicans had such a fabulous championship at 14.78 for her best in round 3. And Yulimar Rojas, well, she took a long time to warm to the task in Budapest, almost going out of that final and not making the cut. In fact, she only made the cut by dint of having 2 valid jumps from her first 3 efforts, one more than the next best. But make the cut she did, and she went on, of course, to take gold with a spectacular final round effort. Did Rojas, 3 times a world champion going into Budapest, 4 times a world champion now. She's the Olympic champion, she's the world record holder. And tonight, 15 meters in round 1, then 15.15 in round 4, a performance she repeated in round 6 to win very comfortably indeed. She had the longest 3 jumps of the evening, Rojas, to win yet again.
Well, the high jump men have this bottom bend where some of the crowd get to stand, and they are very, very loud. Got it all to themselves. Akamatsu at the bar, 2:24. So first time clearance for him after taking a couple of attempts to get over 2:20. Really good field there. We mentioned Barshim and Tamberi. You've got Hamish Kerr here. Shelby McEwen. Wu is here. Really looking forward to seeing how he interacts with the crowd as well. Here he goes. Enigmatic Korean. He's got just a lovely rhythm, hasn't he? 2:24, easy clearance for him first time. So no blemishes so far for the Korean. Another great high jump competition we had in Budapest. Barshim, though, was not at his best, it's fair to say, Tim.
Yes, Barshim, in fact, second highest jumper in history. Had, you'll forgive me, an up and down seasonal vow of that. Clearance at 2:28. Making it look very, very easy indeed. In fact, the margin of clearance there, some people would call that an extravagant jump. He's way, way over that. Remember, he's a 2:43 jumper at his absolute best. And clearing first time, putting him in the lead.
Well, there were so many stories to come out of Budapest. One of them certainly was in the women's 100 meters, where Sha'Carri Richardson finally fulfilled all of the talent and ability that so many people have thought she possesses. And with all of the hype that's often surrounded her career so far, finally she managed to deliver on the biggest of stages. And there she is. Took a medal in the 200 meters as well, had a sensational championships. But we'll do them one by one here, just introduce them first. Natasha Morrison's going to be on the inside, was the lead-off in the 4x1 for the Jamaican team. Zoe Hobbs was only 1/100th of a second off getting a place in the final, the New Zealander, running really well. Tanisha Terry was, well, apart from how championships were probably noticed for how quick she was in the 4x1 down the back straight. So there she is, Richardson, one of the big stars of the games, winning the gold medal in lane 9. But the Olympic champion, Elaine Thompson-Herah, has had a curtailed season yet again with injury. Only took part in the relay, and in fact she only ran in the heats for Jamaica. Another athlete who'll get a huge reception here, who's had a injury troubled season, plantar fasciitis for Mujinga Kambunji. Wasn't able to run in the relay for the Swiss team. Antonique Strawn, though, has been in such good form this year. Sasha Lee Forbes. And then Tamara Clark. So we've had a few changes in the lineup that we were given last night. Daryl Nita, who's down to run the 200, was going to run the 100 meters as well. Strawn joined by Forbes. Clark, another member of the US 4x1 team. Well, Richardson will be very well aware that Thompson Hera has not raced much this season. I'm really curious to see how well she goes. There were rumours that in the heats that her leg down the back straight was timed at 9.90. There were some issues around the split timings in Budapest. We'll probably get a better idea here. And Richardson's in 4, the Olympic champion in 5. Kambunji next to them in 6. Richardson gets a pretty good start. Terry gets an excellent start. So does Zoe Hobbs as well over in lane 2. Richardson starting to come through, though. The world champion's going to take this. It's going to be Sha'Carri Richardson right over on the far side. Morrison ran brilliantly as well. Might have just pipped Thompson Hera. That's going to be close for second and third. No doubt about the winner. 10.88. It's confirmed as easy as you like for Richardson. Got a decent start in the semi-final in the World Championships. She had a bit of a shocker and almost didn't go through, and then that's why she found herself in lane 9, but in some ways I think that really helped her. There was less attention on her in lane 9 and able to run her own race right there in the middle tonight. And indeed Morrison has been given the nod, Tim, just over Thompson Hera, who I still think is a way off her best. I'm not sure about that 9.90 clocking that theoretically she had in the heats.
No, I think there were a lot of issues around those splits, as you said, Steve, and some revised splits did come out a couple of days ago, but I think anything under 10 seconds is probably a little bit fantastical, if you know what I mean. But Thompson Hera, well, she does run a season's best. They're third in 11 seconds dead. She's improving all the time. They're running actually in more or less still air, minus 0.2. There's very little breeze around the city, around this stadium. There's very dark clouds to the north and east of the stadium, and even perhaps a storm threatening. I don't know. Had some pretty spectacular ones over the years. But you know what? Richardson got a solid start in lane 4, fourth from right, but not brilliant. But it's the way she moves through the middle section of the race. Not straining, not pushing hard. Sha'Carri Richardson winning by a metre there and going away. Very, very impressive, Steve. 10.88, second place, 11 seconds dead. And she's done well, particularly well. He not only has come off, take that gold in Budapest, but has come off it and handle the pressures and stay focused and take the win there. We just saw what perhaps a little bit of fatigue mentally as much as physically can do to athletes like Warholm in that first race. That's a superb run. She really stays beautifully relaxed there.
Yeah, there was a great ISO of her in, I think it was the 100, maybe in one of the heats or something, or maybe it was in the 200, you know, that relaxed look, and then when she crossed the line, the outburst of emotion, really some wonderful pictures just showing when you're having to hold it right to the line and then suddenly the expression changes. Well, she'll be happy tonight, though. That's a big win here in Zurich, 10.88.
Well, the high jump bar being adjusted, or at least remeasured for perfection purposes. Here is Hamish Kerr of New Zealand. Second attempt at 2.28. Oh, that's nice. Beautifully fluid, like a wave over the top of the bar there. The bronze medalist at the World Indoors last year in Belgrade went out in qualifying in Budapest. He is, of course, the Commonwealth champion from last year. And in fact, in Belgrade last year, as we see him there, make light work of 2.28 at the second time of asking, include 2.24 second time as well, a few minutes ago. In Belgrade, he became the first New Zealander to win a global high jump medal.
Here's Tamberi having a little bit of a wobbly evening so far. And he's wobbled it again. 2.24, 2 attempts to get over, now 2.28. I can't imagine, well I can, how much he's probably had to, I hesitate to say partied, but I suspect he probably has had an awful lot of celebrations to deal with in
Celebrate
Italy.
sensibly.
Oh, absolutely. He knows he's still competing, but it was a massive win for him. He's one of the stars of the sport, Tamberi, and he'll be also, he's a great competitor, trying to make sure he gets over this.
Well, here is Ernest John Obieno of the Philippines there. First truly world-class competitor in the modern era of athletics. Third attempt for Obiena, though, who has been taking medals left, right and centre. He's had 2 attempts at 5.75. This is at 5.85, his last life. And he's had such a super season, but not tonight. No, the fatigue getting to the Filipino, perhaps. The silver medalist in Budapest behind Duplantis, of course. He was bronze medalist last year in Eugene. He really is hitting his straps these days so well. Has trained with Tiago Braz of Brazil. And generally, it's been wonderfully consistent, but way down the field here tonight. Oh, the host of men have gone over at 5.75 first time. He had 2 failures at that, and then seeing the position he was in, took 1 final attempt at the next height up, but it's not to be. Finishes down the field and in 10th place as Obiena.
I think we should mention, Tim, that Obiena is safe in terms of qualification for the Diamond League final. These last 2-3 meets, they're going to be in summer here tonight in Zurich, are their last opportunity. He's safe, actually, but there are others, not him, who still need the points.
Here is Duplantis. 1 failure for him at 5.85. Second attempt. Thank you very much. Tights and all. Probably thinking, what was I playing at? I've been over... don't forget, this is the man with the world record outdoors of 6.21. That, of course, came in Eugene last year at the World Championships when he took that gold, retained it with quite some ease in Budapest. He's the European champion as well, the world indoor champion, the Olympic champion. And his dad, Greg, has been hanging around our hotel the last couple of days. He said actually to me yesterday, I had a quick chat with him, he said Mondo is tired. He says he's very tired after the exertions of last week.
So over on the far side, we look at the field lining up, and it's a very, very good field for the women's 3,000 meter steeplechase.
Big field and a very strong field. There is Chirono, Fancy Chirono. She's the pacemaker. Been asked to go out at 3 minutes for 1K, 6 minutes for 2K, along with Yavi. This is a superb field. Yavi there to the left of picture, the Bahrainian. She is the reigning world champion, 4th in Eugene last year, got it right this year. Beatrice Koech, the world champion and world record holder, world champion back in 2019. Faith Cheretich, the bronze medalist in Budapest. It's such a strong field. Alice Finot of France, 5th in Budapest. Brilliant run she had there in that final, set a new French national record. Wanda May Gagan was 4th in Budapest. Jacqueline Kepkoech, 9th in Budapest. It's almost a rerun of the final from last week. But if they do go with this tempo, well, there's a threat, a possibility of a world best for this year. It currently stands at 8.54. That was Yavi in Budapest last week. So away they go. Now, is anybody going to really attack this? It's a good evening, actually, for distance running. Perhaps not quite warm enough for the sprinters. They like warmer temperatures than this. That target time, 8.59, would require just a very slight acceleration if they hit the splits at 1K and 2K. Very slight acceleration through the final kilometre. But Chirono moves to the 4. She's a 9.27 athlete herself at her best. You can say Chepkoech. Beatrice Chepkoech in 3rd place there. She tried so hard to break Yavi in that final in Budapest. Couldn't manage it. Although Yavi, well, in superb form, and she's a growing force, the 23-year-old Bahraini. She won in those the World Championship in Budapest with the 4th fastest time in history. Irresistibly strong on the day. Hung on to Chepkoech for the first couple of kilometres, and then with a lap and a half or so to go, just eased away and was much, much stronger over the final circuit. Chepkoech having to settle for 2nd place. But although she did set a season's best, 8.58 in that one. But Steve, if they go anywhere near 3 minutes for the first kilometre, this could be quite a tasty finishing time.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting that they didn't ask for a really quick pace. You know, Chepkoech had a hard run. I thought it was really interesting, Tim. You know, there's 3 of the top 5 in the world this year are all teenagers. We were all speculating. You know, Jacqueline Chepkoech and Faith Cheretich who's in here, thinking could they actually dominate the race? But it was the 2 more established athletes who did it. Beatrice Chepkoech thought, right, I've got to make this hard. Yavi went with her, as you said. Both of them were brilliant. But Yavi in particular ran off that fast pace. Maybe that's still in their legs a little bit, because I think 9 minutes would probably look the sort of time they're going to be aiming at here tonight.
Steve, I can't help but comment about the hurdling technique of Fancy Cherona. She stutters. Look at that, tiny little steps. That was an improvement on the previous couple of barriers. She stutters and slows so dramatically that a couple of barriers back, the field almost ran into the back of her. She really strides up beautifully between the barriers, but she's got to be able to sight the barriers better than that. Look at that. 4 or 5 tiny little tip-tap steps approaching the barrier. It's painful to watch. And that would compromise your run as an individual in this event when you're looking for a quick time. Dramatically takes the barrier without any problem. Chepkoech has had enough. Not even reached 1 kilometre yet, and she's clears that barrier very comfortably back into the lead. And now Fancy Cherona wrestles back the lead, and there's that slowing and 4 or 5 tiny steps into that next barrier. But that's a big pack. 8 athletes very close together, with the pacemaker still there. 2:59.22 at 1,000. She's done a good job against the clock. And she steps aside. The next pacemaker is,
this is
in fact, the only pacemaker.
Sorry, Tim.
Sorry.
Third attempt there for Zayas, who had another good World Championships. He's finished 6th, then 5th, then 4th in the last 3 World Championships. He's not one of the well-known high jumpers where he is on the circuit, but in terms of medals, he's getting closer and closer. Wu now, similarly, in a bit of bother here. We've seen most of them start to struggle at this height. So Wu Sang-yuk, he tried to win a medal, but after he'd failed at 2:33, he went up to 2:36, wasn't successful. Oh, that's better. There you go. Let out a roar of satisfaction that he's got over that. It's only 2:28, and he's well capable of that on normal evenings. But this meet here, you're going to see some performances of athletes who are still struggling with whatever happened to them, good or bad, at the World Championships. But Wu clears 2:28. That might be good enough to get you in the top 3 in this high jump tonight. We were hoping for, with Barshim and Tamberi, Wu, others, hoping for a really good competition, but 2:28, he's clear, and he is now in 3rd place. Just skinned his shoulder there. Okay then, Gianmarco, the crowd is yours. What have you got? To stay in the competition, the world champion. 2:28, 3rd attempt. Oh, he's done it! Gets the green light. Walks off as if to say, never in doubt. You sometimes wonder when these stars like Tamberi and others, whether they're just playing with the crowd a little bit, but goodness me, that was risky. But this is a great clearance. Really did attack it. Plenty to spare. There's the celebration. So it's back on, Barshim versus Tamberi. Wu clear as well. And Hamish Kerr, the Commonwealth champion. So now it's down to 4. And we'll go on to 2:31. That's got to be the prettiest water jump I've seen in a long time.
Back to this chase then. They've just gone through 2 kilometres in 6:05.58, so a much slower 2nd kilometre. Remember, the first K at 2:59, just 2:59.2. That 2nd kilometre was almost 3:06. So it slowed so much as soon as the pacemaker stepped aside. Although with Chepkoech still the leader, Beatrice Chepkoech, these 4 beginning to ease away. Geiger at the back of this 7. Geiger, who was the little Albanian, who was a fine 8th in Budapest after 5th in Eugene last year. Bojani is looking good towards the back of this group, trying to get back on terms with them. The Tunisian there in the black tights clearing that barrier now, but I don't think she's going to get on terms with this quartet. Chepkoech with that lovely relaxed style of hers, the world record holder, remember, since 2018 when she ran that almost science fictional 8:44. Now can she burn off the opposition here? Yavi of Bahrain will be tough to shake. Beatrice Chepkoech down the back straight with what, lap and a half to go.
Yeah, Faith Cheretich is somebody who I think you really need to take note of. She's really developing into, well, she's a great junior champion, but in the senior championships as well did so well. But she can finish as well. She's not quite as strong yet as Chepkoech, Yavi in terms of times, but when it's in this sort of space, Tim, then she's got a chance, because she does hurdle well and she does that at speed. She's got a bit of pace at the end as well, which certainly Beatrice Chepkoech tends not to have.
Well, it's working for Chepkoech, down to 3. It was 6 a couple of laps ago, then down to 4, down to 3 this time as she goes through the line. Yavi, though, on her shoulder. Sense of deja vu here. Cheretich, the bronze medalist from Budapest, won the World Under-20 title in Cali, Colombia last year. Great championship temperament. Still only 19, Cheretich in 3rd place, but she too now beginning to lose contact as they head into the back straight for the final time. Can it work for Chepkoech this time? On the flat, she's a quite magnificent racer. 8:22 for 3,000, 14:39 for 5,000. And Yavi there hits the front yet again, as in Budapest. Crucially, takes the lead there. Chepkoech just cannot do enough, although she's looking to hang on to the Bahraini here. Chepkoech moves alongside her. Is she going to return it with interest here? There's a battle royal between these two. They come off the water jump and into the straight now. Yavi in red, much the smaller. It's all about hurdling technique here. The final barrier, can she get it right? A little stutter there, and Chepkoech gets her head down. But Yavi, gritted teeth, stays ahead, forges a 1 meter lead, 2 meters at the line and takes it. 9:03.19 unofficially. Yavi yet again has the beating of Chepkoech. Well, any more clashes between these two in the remainder of this season will be fiercely contested. Chepkoech doesn't look too amused with that. Did all the work through the second half of the race and even before that. Loses out there by a couple of meters, but all great credit to Winifred Mutila Yavi. She is the real deal. 8:54 she won in Budapest in that sweltering heat, and she wins again here tonight in Zurich. Cheretich 9:07, a little way down. Geiger, what a brilliant mid-race surge from her to start closing up on that lead pack. A national record is her reward in 4th place. Goodness me, she improves her own national record by, well, about half a second.
Yeah, well done, Yavi. Needs to work on that flower throwing technique, but you won't mind that. This was much closer, as you said, Tim. It's really interesting. I don't know if you notice, when Chepkoech is approaching a barrier, she sort of watches. She takes a step to her left, and then when she's into the barrier, so about 3 strides before that, this is in the water jump actually, where she does it a little bit earlier. And that's her sighting the barrier, but just watch it here. See that little step to the left, then she comes out. She would be doing that anyway, even if Yavi wasn't there. But she just doesn't quite have that pace that Yavi has at the end. She resigns herself yet again to defeat. But the two of them have had a couple of cracking races this week, haven't they? It was right at the end. There you go, there's the flower throw.
Well, in a race like this, it's almost a championship race with only a pacemaker for the first kilometre and a lot of pride at stake. The time's less important, 9:03.19. She ran almost 10 seconds quicker than that a week ago to win the title. So Chepkoech back to the drawing board. She's met a match in this young lady.
I think she is, running very well again, though, isn't she, Chepkoech? So she's, it's a journey back, and she's certainly coming very close. Well, as Yavi celebrates at the top end of the stadium, the men's pole vault, continues. Sam Kendricks, well, again, another one who's had a disrupted season. Wasn't at the championships. Didn't make the US team. Had to watch others go and take part, which would have frustrated him. But a 585 clearance, that's much better from Sam. He did clear 591 for his season's best in the meeting in Poland in July. It just stays on there, doesn't it? So Kendrick's first one clear at 585.
So, Lightfoot then. Casey Lightfoot. And, solid performance so far, no failures. Casey Lightfoot pops over 585 first time. Keeps a clean card, shares the lead with Kendricks. And of course he is the new lad on the scene, really, Casey Lightfoot. Number 3 all time with that US record in Nashville back in early June, but didn't make the US team for Budapest. How frustrating must that have been, sitting back at home and watching the World Championships unfold.
So the other end on the first bend, the men's high jump, we mentioned just 4 left. Barshim, Kerr, Wu and Tamberi. Barshim first to go at 2:31. Ah, there you go, normal service resume for the Olympic champion. That's better. I think it was one of his early jumps in that final where you just thought, that doesn't look like Barshim. And I mean, he still was in the mix, wasn't he? But had to settle for losing out to Tamberi. But that's a nice first-time clearance, so he's in the lead.
Well, Barshim in fine form, normally so consistent. Here is Kerr, second attempt at 2:31 for the Kiwi. Gives it a little tickle, but over he goes. Bar stays up, and that equals his national record. It equals his personal best, of course. And Kerr, well, the Commonwealth champion, must be wondering, where were those jumping legs when I needed them last week in Budapest, where he went out in qualifying. So frustrating for him. Would you swap a great performance somewhere else on the circuit for the major championship success that defines a career? Of course you would.
So Tamberi then, this is his second attempt. 2:31. Again, invokes the support from the crowd. These tickets are hard to come by. These are the most precious tickets in athletic runs on this bottom bend. They want to be involved and try and help the athletes as well. So Tamberi trying to feed off the crowd here. Oh, he flips it off with his legs. Looked as though he had the height there. He's frustrated, isn't he? He wants to entertain, he wants to follow up his win in Budapest with a win here in Zurich. Watch this, up, over. Yeah, he just catches it with his backside, back of his hamstrings.
Yeah, I think Tamberi had that height. You're right, Steve. It's definitely there. Clipped it off with his heels when 90% of the work was done. Now, Wu Sang-yok of Korea. Here he goes. Third and final attempt, and he nails it again. Second height consecutively. He's cleared third time. He popped over the first 3 heights, 215, 220, 224, first time. Then was very, very dodgy at 228, got over third time, and he does it again. They're in spectacular form. That is the sign of a great competitor responding to the challenge. The world indoor champion from Belgrade last year. Oh, only 6th in Budapest, having taken silver in Eugene last year. If you'll forgive the pun, he would have had high, high hopes in Hungary last week, but it wasn't to be. Can he make amends and gain some consolation here tonight? He's in third place at the moment. Barshim went over first time, Kerr second time, he third time.
Well, the crowd settled because on the far side, always one of their favorite events here in Zurich, the men's 1500 meters. And what a field we have. And it includes the new world champion, Josh Kerr of Great Britain, having beaten Jakob Ingebrigtsen, who's not here in Zurich. Second time in consecutive seasons, consecutive World Championships, he lost out to a Brit. Jake Whiteman last year, Josh Kerr this time. We've lost a couple overnight. The bronze medalist, Nordas, the Norwegian, who's just behind Kerr and Ingebrigtsen, had to pull out, and so is Neil Gooley with of Great Britain with food poisoning. But we still have 10 finalists, 2 from the 5,000 meters. Katir, medalist in the 5,000 meters, and now dropping back down to his other event, the 1,500 meters, and then 10 world finalists altogether. George Mills of Great Britain's been brought in overnight, was training in St. Moritz, and was able to accept a late invite to take one of those 2 places that were sadly given up by the 2 athletes not being well. So Josh Kerr said that winning was everything, but he got quite close yet again to the British record held by Mo Farah, and the pace will be set at that pace tonight. Oh, false start. That was young Chariot, I think. Just got a little bit eager. World Junior champion right in the middle of the field. Just a few others to point out here. Nagus is here from the United States. Yes, it was Chariot there, just stepped over. Kipsang, his teammate, is here. Katia, we mentioned. Look at the young Laros there. What a season he's having, the 18-year-old tall Dutch youngster who's just getting better and better, breaking records. In fact, we've got the 7th best ever and the 5th best ever juniors in this race. They're standing next to each other, Laros and Chariot. Chariot 19, Laros 18. I don't know what the booing's for. I think they're waiting for the high jump possibly to tip. Everybody's looking over there. I don't know what's going on. Oh, we've had a protest.
Well, that's not a warning card, is it, for the fields team? It's just a ballsy start.
Yeah, we've had somebody transgressed onto the tracks, being escorted off.
Yeah, I think it's other activity. The pole vault at the far end of the arena was going ahead, and they wanted to get that done. There's a bit of focus on that event while this 1,500 field was being reset.
Well, Katir, who picked up a medal in the 1,500 meters last year, 5,000 this year, will be somebody who just needs to try and follow the pace here. He wants it strong and hard. So Josh Kerr, the man to beat, and it's difficult when you've just won your biggest race of your career. He is the Olympic bronze medalist. He knows that everybody here will be looking at him. He's the man to beat. He's wearing his trademark shades, and he slots into 3rd place. The 2 at the front there, the 2 designated pacemakers. So Josh has decided, I'm going to go for this. I know that everybody else will follow me. Katir at the back, happy to sit further back. Mills of Great Britain further back as well. Tom Elmer of Switzerland. But a good pace being set. And it's going to be quick, Tim.
Well, yeah, it is, Steve, because the pacemakers have been asked to go out in 55 flat for the first 400, and then 151.5 for 800 metres. 54.84, that's pretty good pacemaking. It's super quick, but it's more or less what was asked for. And I wonder, Steve, if that's why Katir is sitting at the back, because he's thinking, well, I tell you what, if they go out in anything like 151, 152, they'll be running a much slower second half, so I'm going to pick them off through the 3rd and 4th laps. We shall see.
Yeah, watch out for the likes of Mario Garcia as well, who tends to sit off the pace, and he'll finish quickly. He's based in Colorado as well, same coach as Nagus. In fact, I think they live together, but just watch for those, as Tim said, who are just sitting off this a little bit. But George Mills at the back there, just moving up a little bit more. Josh Kerr, his teammate, right at the front. A little look behind from Ramson to say, is Josh with me? Yes, he is. Those green lights are set at that 3:28, and he's stepping aside. He's had enough. So he's saying, I can't keep this going, which is a bit of a shame. Siratsky is away, and Josh Kerr's looking around as if to say, where is everybody? 158 through 800 meters, and there's some pushing and shoving as others try to get up there as quickly as they can. There is Garcia, Nagus trying to follow him, but this is going to be a long, long run for home for Josh Kerr. This is not what he's used to.
No, but Josh Kerr is a very strong 5,000-meter runner, Steve. People have been talking over the last couple of weeks about how much weight he's lost. He's much leaner than the lad that took Olympic bronze in Tokyo a couple of years ago. That time at 800, by the way, 1:51.26. Good job by the pacemakers. And I reckon Josh Kerr, he was a few meters down, probably went through in about 1:52 flat, something like that.
Kerr leads. Stu McSwain of Australia in second. The world junior champion is third. Mills moves up behind Nagus and Cole Hocker, the two Americans. They're all within striking range if Kerr falters here, but he's running really strongly out there in front. He's going to go through 1,200 meters as he watches the lights just move away. 2:48, a 57 lap there. He's got to keep the pressure on. Nagus moves wide. Chariot is coming. Mills is coming. They're all starting to just close a little bit, but Kerr is still out there in front. A 2.5 meter lead. It's hurting him now. The world champion has the lead, but can he hang on to it? Kipsang is close now. Nagus is close. He's going to come under pressure as he comes into the home straight. Josh Kerr has got to try and hang on here, and he continues to blow hard, but he's stretching away. Can they get past him? Kipsang is there, Mills is there, Nagus is there, but Josh Kerr, the world champion, is going to hang on for the win. Kerr, ooh! Oh, I was going to say Kerr gets it. A last throw at the line from the American. I'm not sure he got there. I think Kerr might have just hung on. He's not sure. He tried to shut the door, didn't he, on the inside, and Nagus threw himself at the line. Did the American make it? It's just gonna, we're waiting for it to come up. He has Tim by 200ths of a second. Well, Nagus left it late. Really, really late. He couldn't have left it any later at all. Kerr, the world champion, did everything to try and hold him off. He just didn't close that inside route enough, did he? He would have been well within his rights to hang on to the rail there, not let him through. Nagus probably wouldn't have got there, but it was open for him, and he took it. Mills with a personal best in fourth place as well after the late shout to get in. Kipsang taking third behind, I'm sure, a disconsolate Josh Kerr.
Fabulous racing, Steve. George Mills, a personal best there for fourth place, having been thrown into this field at the very last minute. But do you know what? This is all consolation for athletes like Nagus. He was fifth in Budapest, out of the medals. Kipsang couldn't make amends and get past Kerr there. He was a brave run from Kerr. I don't know if with 250 to go, he knew he had 3 or 4 meters on this pack. I think he might have gone a bit harder then if he'd known, but he was struggling around that top end. He's perfectly entitled to be very, very tired indeed. Super close at the line, look, 2/100ths of a second. There is no shame in losing out just a week or so after such an epic win. 10 days after such an epic win at the World Championships on the part of Josh Kerr, Steve. And the time's fabulous. I mean, so many athletes, the first 8 under 3:32 yet again.
The Goose, as they call him in the States, has won his on the biggest stage for milers, 1,500 meter runners, winning in Zurich, such a big thing. Well done to him. Kerr, the world champion, just defeated in his first race after the championships. He still looks pretty happy though. He ran hard, didn't he? He set himself up, he went for it, and he should be applauded for that. And a great run from George Mills and Kipsang just behind those two. Other good times. Laros again, watch out for that 18-year-old. Another 3:31 clocking for the young Dutch star. Really high quality 1,500 meters again. Top 8, all under 3:32.
Well, he's got the big one. He doesn't look so unhappy, does he, Josh Kerr? The Goose there, probably with one of the biggest wins of his career. This is the meeting, remember, they call the one-day Olympics. Here is another man who's showing fatigue, not only Kerr. Duplantis failed first time at 5:85. Goes clear second time at 5:95 as well, though. And that to take the lead, is the first to go clear. The crowd loving it. He's enjoying himself too. Going for his 3rd consecutive win here, by the way, in Zurich. It was Sam Kendricks back in 2020 who last won here, apart from the somebody from the Duplantis family. Mondo having a relatively busy evening by his standards. 5 vaults, but he's clear at 5:95 second time and in the lead.
So Sam Kendricks then, third attempt at 5.95. This would be huge if he even got close here. Oh, he's done it! Sam Kendricks is back. The former world champion has not been at this sort of height for quite a while. That's one of his best ever jumps, top 10 in his career. Look at what that means to him. He's had such a difficult year. Finished fourth in the American Championships. As I said, I had to watch Budapest. That must have really been difficult for somebody like Sam. And he's been sometimes in the 70s and the 60s. But all of a sudden, here in Zurich, 5.95 at the third attempt. And it's good to have Kendricks vaulting at this sort of height again. He is one of the real characters of the event. Well done, Sam.
Well, there's great vertical jumping all over the stadium. Here's Hamish Kerr now. 2.33, first attempt. Oh, boom, over he goes. Makes it look easy. Makes it look easy as Kerr. The three previous heights he's had to clear at the second attempt. But that from the Kiwi is superb. And that is an out-and-out lifetime best. That doesn't equal his lifetime best as his previous clearance did, the second attempt at 2.31. That is a national record and personal best for Kerr. And he, with that, stays right in the mix. And in fact, goes into the lead.
New national record for Kerr. Now can Bashim match it? The Qataris look good tonight. And he does! Not much room for error there from Bashim, but it was good enough. Just give it a little tickle as he went over. Focused on that bar. There's the effort. Just grazes it. But we've got two men clear now, 2.33. Not Tamberi, but Kerr and Bashim, with Wu still involved. Can Tamberi join them? He had to pass. He's at 2 failures at 2.31. He's got one more jump left. This has to be good. He has to get over it. Now, never really looked like it all night. And why not? He won the World Championships not that long ago, just a few days ago. And for him now, he'll, I'm sure, focus on the Diamond League final. So he's going to have to settle for fourth place tonight. That's the best that he's going to manage. So Wu, a chance, the only man left with a chance to join Kerr and Bashim.
So we move back to the track. 2 laps coming up for the women. 12 competitors in this 800 meters. Now, I can tell you that none of the medalists from Budapest are in this field. Their race, of course, was on Sunday. It was the last day, and they are tired. Keely Hodgkinson, Mary Morar, the Kenyan who took gold, of course, in Budapest, amongst them. Funny enough, they're the last 2 winners of these. Mary Morar winning last year. There is Sanford, Ellie Sanford of Australia, 56.5. She's been asked to go out at. That's not much outside her personal best for 400. Natoya Gouldtop in a semi-finalist in Budapest. That was a below-par performance from her, the Jamaican. She is very good normally. Halima Nakai, the world champion back in 2019, the Ugandan, finished 8th in the final last Sunday in Budapest. She'll be running on slightly tired legs as well. Catriona Bissett, semi-finalist in Budapest, the Australian. Has had a good season, the Australian champion. Herta Klecker, 4th in the US Championships, just missed out on Budapest, shares that lane 6. Here is Nia Akins, one of the new names of this season, really, the US champion, a fabulous 6th in Budapest. Although she is 25, relatively late developer is Akins. She's in lane 5. And then 4, well, there's a familiar face. 6th in the Budapest 1500, Laura Muir. I think she knew that things had been difficult for her early season, a change of coaches. She's been a little bit up and down this year. So it's coming back from Laura Muir. She wasn't too dissatisfied with that performance. Audrey Werro of Switzerland went out in the heats in Budapest. She is the Swiss champion, though, 159 performer alongside Muir. Raven Rogers goes in lane 3. 4th in Budapest, the American Championship silver medal. Was frustrated with that. The American, very experienced, always looks confident. Renelle Lamotte of France. She too a semi-finalist. Very little racing from her this year, Lamont. And she do something special here tonight. She has a best of 1:57. Adele Tracy of Jamaica, the former Brit, 7th in Budapest, a semi-finalist in the 1500 there. And Laura Hoffman of Switzerland, a semi-finalist as well in Budapest. Well, the season's best belongs to Keely Hodgkinson. Remember that fabulous dominant run in Paris back in early June, 1:55.77. None of the really big guns are here. The first three in Budapest, Morat, Hodgkinson and Nothing Mo, choosing to give this one a miss. Chance perhaps for somebody like Laura Muir to show her abilities over 2 laps. So Muir left in the blocks a little bit there by Werro, the athlete she was sharing that 4th lane with, and she's at the back now as they go through 100. Looks like a fairly healthy start though as they head into the back straight. Remember the pace they've been asked for is 56.5 with a target time of 1:57 dead. Well, Laura Muir's best is 1:56.7, so she's capable of putting together a very strong second lap as they go through 200 meters. And it looks pretty quick, Steve, although they're bunching at the front already.
Yeah, a little bit of a jostle to get to the front, wasn't there? And I was interested because Sanford's meant to be doing the pacing, and she couldn't even get to the front. And Toya Gould has picked it up and taken it on, so Sanford's just stepped off to the side there. So she's really decided, I want to go quicker. Laura Muir now moving up. As you said, just takes her 200-300 meters to get up to full pace, but she's right in the mix now.
Well, Gould Toppin loves to front run. She's an aggressive runner, 56.47. That actually just about perfect, even though Sanford, as you said, dropped out at about 300, could not get to the front. But Gould now leading and looking strong. Raven Rogers, who likes to front run herself, likes a long run for home. She's in 2nd place, moving through on the inside is Nakai. Muir now in 4th place, beginning to come into the frame. Werro in 5th, Bissett of Australia in 6th, moving up well. And here's Muir kicking into the final bend. Good running from her, good tactics as they head into this final 200 meters. Looking strong as Laura Muir. Past Natoya Gould Toppin and into the lead. She's fresh over 800. She might have been less fresh over 1500 tonight, but at the moment forging a 3-meter lead, and it's getting bigger. And the rest of them are trying to get past this struggling Gould Toppin. And look at the lead of Laura Muir. Great finishing from Bissett here, but she's 6 meters down, 7 meters down. Watch the clock. This is a wonderful, dominant run for the Briton. 1:57.71. Well, some consolation there for her running in Budapest. She wasn't that unhappy with it, but we all know that the Olympic silver medalist at 1500 has been very out of sorts this year as a season where she's changed coach and has moved training base. And that, I think, is a lovely little bit of a sort of silver lining to almost bookend her season. A few races to come just yet, of course, but a win in Zurich is always special. It's right up there in your career footnotes. And Laura Muir notches up another one with Steve, a win there by over a second from Bissett, 1:57.71 to Bissett's 1:58.77. Good running from Adele Tracy too for 3rd place.
I remember in early season watching Laura in a little meeting in Manchester in the UK, running in a men's race, in a mixed race, very similar to that, couldn't keep up the first 200 and then forged her way through the field, ran about the same time, 1:57 and bits, maybe 1:57.3. This was the start. I didn't understand this really. You've got a pacemaker in Sanford to go through in 56 and they don't let her to the front. And so Gould Toppin, we know, Tim, as you said, she likes to front run. I just didn't understand why you wouldn't let somebody else do that and then try and take it on. And because of that, I think she was just spent. Laura Muir just runs a very smart race, probably round about 58 for the first lap and then about 59 for the second lap. Much more even paced, but it looks, doesn't it, as though she's just moving quick and moving away. This is her 1500 meter strength, which is doing this. And there'll be a good confidence boost as she heads into Brussels in the 1500 meters next week. But still going strong, still going well, and a win. Wins are great for your confidence.
Certainly is, yeah. Laura Muir's had a real mix of racing results this year. It's been a roller coaster of a season for the Briton, but she's still got that great speed. Don't let's forget she's world class at 3,000 and 5,000 as well. Confirmation then for that very comfortable win for Laura Muir over 800, stepping down from her favourite distance to 1,500 metres. Some big names behind her.
Well, talking of big names, they don't come any bigger, do they, than Mondo Duplantis. This is 6 meters now in the pole vault. Just himself and Sam Kendricks cleared 5.95. And there you go. He makes it look so easy. There was one shot of one of his early clearances in Budapest, I think in qualifying, where he was like a meter, or seemed to be a meter over the bar, and it was at about 550 or something. It was crazy. I'm not sure, you know, that there was some talk. They moved the pole vault from across, as it is here, across the bend in Budapest, onto the back straight for the final. And there was some saying that they didn't think that was as conducive to really big vaulting. Anyway, it doesn't matter. He was the gold medalist, 6:10, wasn't he? He cleared, I think. He did have a go at the world record. I think Sam will have a go at this 6 meters, but Duplantis is clear. Sam,
well, isn't that great? Little massage for the old intercostals. The old rubs muscles between the ribs there. But Duplantis throws the gauntlet down with a first-time clearance at 6 meters. Always so valuable, first-time clearance.
You sure that's what it was?
Okay, back to Barshim now in this high jump. The bar at 2:35. Popped over 2:33 first time and does it at 2:35. Boy, oh boy. Remember, Kerr popped over 2:33 first time, but Barshim, almost in a Mondo-esque fashion, just grinds the knife more into the wound, so to speak, because it's so hard to come back. And knowing you've got to clear the next tied up, Kerr has already set a national record with that brilliant first-time clearance at 2:33. But surely going over 2:35 on the night will be too much for the Kiwi. Barshim dominant tonight. How he'd love this to have been the case a week or 10 days back.
Yeah, if only, eh? But it was Tamberi on that occasion. He's had to settle for 4th. Watch his big mate there. Looks like he's heading for the win, doesn't he? 2:35, that's an exceptional clearance. Made it look so easy. 200 meters for women next on the track on the far side. As Tim was saying earlier on, now I wouldn't say it was chilly, but it's certainly not a warm evening, but there is no wind whatsoever, so we saw a pretty quick 100 meters earlier on from Sha'Carri Richardson. What can Shericka Jackson do? She was talking in the press conference yesterday about, hey, why not? You know, she's getting closer and closer to that world record that seemed so far away, 21:34, and 21:41 to win the World Championships. Kambuchi gets a big share, will look pretty solid in the 100 meters. So Daryl Neita, after a really good sort of baptism at 200 meters at the World Championships, 2 personal bests in what's always been a second best event, but I think she showed signs that the 200 meters could have real potential for the British athlete. Shericka Jackson, there's those times, 21:41. 400s quicker than the seemed incredible time that she won the World Championships last year in the United States. Antonique Strawn really running at her very, very best after all these years, after a great junior career. Kyla White, that was her first major championships. Was 5th ranked going into the championships, but only finished 4th in a semi-final. They did beat Richardson earlier in the year over 200. TT Terry, I mentioned what a great performance she had in the relay. Ran in the 100 earlier this evening, as indeed did Tamara Clark. And then right on the inside, it hasn't been Jenna Prandini's year. 6th at the American trials. She's had to sit out the World Championships. Having a bit of a dabble at the 400, I noticed. 51.86, new personal best a couple of weeks ago. Is that where she sees her future? So Daryl Neita, well, she'll know all about 200 meter running already, but with Shericka Jackson just on the inside, then he could be in for something pretty quick here. It's perfectly still conditions, and the Jamaican in the form of her life. Two-time world champion now at this distance. Second fastest ever in history. In fact, she has 3 of the top 5 times ever run. Darunita got out well, but so did Shericka Jackson. Already the two of them are closing down Kambundji outside, and there's a bit of a gap between Jackson and the rest, and going well in lane 3 was Terry, and White not too far away either, but it's Shericka Jackson who's storming away down the home straight here. Look at this. Shericka Jackson completely dominates. 21.82. Nita of Great Britain in second place. Slight headwind. 0.8. She didn't look too happy with that, did she? But she makes sub-22 second running look so easy. And I think it's worth mentioning, there's only been 4 women run under 22 seconds all season. And Shericka Jackson just does it time and time again. There were more last year. It's not been necessarily a great year for 200-meter running across the board. But Jackson is now so dominant in this event. Even at that sort of time, 21.82, she's just too good for everybody else. Nita continues to perhaps show her potential at this distance. And White getting ahead of Kambundji, who finished pretty well for a season's best 22.46.
Well, I think you're right, Steve. You know, the fact that 21.82 for her is a humdrum time, but only one other athlete has gone as quick as that this year, and that's Gabby Thomas. Then it underlines how strong that was. And this is not great weather for sprinters. No, there's no wind, but there's no tailwind, and it's a cool evening. They love some warmth. They'd love it to be 25, 30 degrees. You can see they're very quick out of the block. She's so powerful as Shericka Jackson, up onto the shoulder of Darunita, who, by the way, was a very comfortable second there. Brilliant running from Darunita, somewhere ahead of the Kayla White in third place. But look at us forging clear there. Now, I think in warmer conditions, slight tailwind behind her, she'd have gone several tenths quicker, Steve, and that does start taking you down into world record territory. It's a shame. It's such a shame. I can't remember the last time that Zurich was as cool as this, and such grey skies we've had all day. That's a huge winning margin over 200 meters against a strong field.
And we've had some storms, haven't we, in the past? I can remember 1 or 2 pretty good.
I can remember the pole vault bed rolling down the middle of the field, such was the strength of the wind about 20 years ago. It was unbelievable. If you'd been holding an umbrella, you'd have been doing a Mary Poppins up in the sky.
Well, talking of pole vault, he's put the bar straight up to what would be a world record height, 6:23. This is the height he attempted at the World Championships in Budapest. I would say, I don't know if you're watching it, Tim, I think one of the 3 attempts was pretty good, and he certainly was getting close. So the crowd doing their bit. All about Mondo Duplantis. He'll have 3 attempts. All the other guys are watching. World record 6:23. Now, Saita. There's Dad and girlfriend, girlfriend, fiance. It's quite hard for us to always explain because we don't know what's happening down there, but all of the vaulters have different poles they can use, and when they start going up to the bigger heights, they're going to be changing poles, and that sometimes, you know, you're not necessarily you start vaulting on a pole you haven't been using during the rest of the evening as you go up the heights. So for Duplantis, and I say a Saita, sometimes it is about just giving himself a go with a new pole, but he's got 2 more attempts left. But while he goes and gathers himself, we get ready for the men's 5,000.
We do indeed, yes, big field, a high caliber field too. Soon to you see Kajelcha and Barega, you know it's going to be fast. Akbash, 1 of 2 pacemakers, they've been asked to go down 2:33, 1K 5:07, and then 7:40 at 3,000. Germa Well, he, of course, is the world record holder in the steeplechase, 7:52.11. He's produced this season. Kejelcha, super consistent, 5th in Budapest. On his day, he's very hard to beat, but he just cannot get it right in those major championships these days. Holds the world record for the mile indoors. There is the little figure of Solomon Barega, the bronze medalist over 10,000 meters in Budapest. Very experienced, but only 23, can you believe? Luis Grijalva, we didn't see him there. He had a fabulous time, the man from Guam, in the 5,000 in Budapest. Finished in 4th place. Etienne Daguinot was 2nd in the French Championships. He's a 13:15 performer. He'll need to run a huge PB here if he wants to be competitive. It is a strong field. Woody Kincaid is in there as well. Grant Fisher, 4th in the US 10,000 meter championships. Wasn't even in Budapest, Grant Fisher, and he's a superb performer. Brian Fay of Ireland, Mike Foppin of the Netherlands. So away they go. Now, if the pacemakers do their job, and if the field are up for it, then this could be very quick once again. Kejelcha with that head-bobbing style of his, the tall figure there left to picture now. He's Grijalva in that light blue vest, and with a yellow bit to the bottom of it, slips into 6th place. As Munir Akbash of France takes the lead. He's 37 years old, this pacemaker. He's a 1:49.800 fella. Probably lead for perhaps 1,000 in 2:33, and then we'll expect Munguti to take over. But it is pretty quick, single file already, and clearly there's several of them who are up for this. Just looking at Grijalva there, Barega back in about 7th place, and I think Woody Kincaid right behind him, who was 11th in the Budapest 10,000 meters. He is the US 10,000 champion. Coming up to 400 meters, the top of the back straight. And the clock didn't stop. That doesn't matter. It looked like about a 61 to me, something like that, Steve.
It was 60.8, Tim.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, Grijalva, the Guatemalan, I felt so sorry for him. He's been close before, but that was the closest, wasn't it? It was just over a 1/10 of a second away from a medal. Saw him at the airport on Monday. We saw a lot of people in the airport on Monday. Couldn't get out. I just would love, he's one of those runners who's got some great talent, and just, there's always somebody. We've got some great athletes in the 5,000 meters at the minute. I think Ingebrigtsen coming back and winning was one of the kind of unsung stories. There's Tamberi. Well, his was a big story, wasn't it? 4th tonight, but world champion in Budapest. Still going on the high jump, by the way, I think. Keep it away.
Yeah, do some sit-ups. Get that belly down a little bit. That's what he's saying to the mascot.
Yeah, Barshim's still going. He's put the bar up to 240. He's won the competition, as we mentioned. But yes, while we see these guys, there is a race going on. I do apologise. Yeah, there's always been 2-3 the greats in there, isn't it? There are so many good guys around at the minute. This has been a vintage year, I think you mentioned, for 5,000 meters in the Diamond League. It's been superb.
Well, it has, and Grijalva, of course, produces a massive personal best, his first time under 13 minutes in Florence back in early June, and he's grown in stature and confidence since then. And he's moving well at the moment. Lobalou from South Sudan is in 4th place there in that white vest and black bottoms. Just looking there, that's a Germa, the steeplechase specialist. Took the silver in the steeplechase behind El Bakali in Budapest, but his personal best at 1,500, 3:29, his personal best at 3,027, 7:26. And we think for Germa, this is his 5,000 debut. It'll be fascinating. It could well be the fastest debut ever at 5,000 meters if he goes with this. That first kilometer, 2:32.5. Akbash doing a good job. Pace being maintained as quick with Munguti, the second pacemaker, out in front at the moment. With Germa there in 2nd place, Lobalou in 3rd. So Grijalva still tucking in there as that group get away.
Commonwealth silver medalist from last year, Sri Shankar from India, made the final in Budapest, and their first round, that's a good start for him. in the long jump. What a competition it was in Budapest. Tentoglu winning by 2 centimeters right at the end. The drama, didn't we, with the slip of McLeod on the takeoff board. Shanker, though, getting things off to a good start. They're all here. Tentoglu's here, Tajay Gale as well. 7.99 takes an early lead. So here is Tentoglu. He won here last year with an 8.42. Winning distance in Budapest, 8.52. That's not near that. But that's his gold medal distance, isn't it? Same distance he won in Munich last year at the European Championships. He's got some work to do here. Now it's close on the board. Such a consistent jumper, and he's always capable of finding that extra few centimeters when he needs it, or seems to be capable of it. 8 meters 4 for Tentoglu in the second round. Tajay Gale, who almost stole the bronze medal away from his teammate McLeod, who really wasn't able to jump properly in the latter stages. Gale, that's right on the same sort of mark there for the Jamaican. He's really quick on the runway, maybe doesn't get quite as much height at times as Tentoglu, just feeling his leg a little bit there. Good extension. Oh, you can see that, just jarred his leg, didn't he, as he landed. 7.96 was his best. 8 meters 7 takes the lead. It's all very close, though, just 8 centimeters between the top 3. So Gale in the lead there, and in the high jump it was all about Barshim, so the others are just watching to see whether he can clear. With his last attempt here, he's had to move it up to 240 after a couple of failures at 237. He won the competition with a clearance at 235, which looked absolutely beautiful, and back into the sort of form he would have liked to have had in Budapest. So one attempt, 240, all or nothing. No. Well, he takes the applause of the crowd and he applauds back to say thank you very much. A win again for Barshim against Tamberi Wu. Kerr with a new national record for New Zealand with his clearance of 233 takes an excellent second place. With Barshim where he likes to be, winning in the high jump. Although it was not really close to that at all. 235 one looked good though. Remember, Tamberi won with 236 in Budapest. That seems to be where we're at this year. Wish I could do that. Really wish I could do that. Jarian Lawson in the long jump. This is in the 5th round. 8.7 still leading. Oh, that's better from him. 7.98 was his best so far. So Lawson getting close. Former world silver medalist. Didn't get out of qualifying in Budapest. Couldn't get beyond 8 meters, but he has done there. And that's going to be good enough to move him into second place. 8 meters 5 for Jarian Lawson. And don't forget, the top 3 only will get another jump. So at the minute, that would be Gale, Lawson, and Tentoglu. He sneaked in there right at the end in the 5th round.
Well, at last we can get you back to this 3,000 meters. The first 1,000 was 232, second kilometer at 235, and 3K though they passed through in 7:43, and it's the leader here at this stage, Kajelchu. He's just taken it over because Germa's been leading for about the last 3 laps, making his debut, the world record holder in the steeplechase. He's in second place at the moment. Barega there in third, just beginning to struggle a little bit is Labalu. And Fisher there, Grant Fisher, has been struggling to maintain contact or keep these guys within sight, but back in fourth place, still having a good run is Grijalva. They go through with 4 laps to run. The splits have been very solid, a couple of 61s to start off with, and then 3 62s and a 61 and then a 62, and that 8th lap is a 60. So he's certainly making it hurt here, Kejelcha. There's been an acceleration and he's away and into the back straight with 3.5 laps to run. And Kejelcha, who, like I said, on his day is amongst the very best, 12:41, his lifetime best. That came in Oslo back in the middle of June, and it puts him right up there in the top half dozen all time. He's accelerated dramatically in the second half of this 5,000 meters and easing away from that very strong pack. And he's got a lovely rocking, bouncy style, has Kejelcha. 7:43 at 1,000. I wonder what this 4th kilometer will end up being. It's going to come through now, Steve, with 3 laps to run, but in the space of about 500 meters, he's opened 35 meters on the trio behind.
Yeah, they checked out, didn't they, when he put through in that 60, and he's followed it up with a 61 there and decided they weren't going to be able to go with him. Germa was the one who was trying to give chase. Barrega, Grijalva was just hanging on, really, and then they went, no, and so that's a race for second, and that's concertinaing up behind. There's now going to be 5 together for the lower places. But yes, Kejelcha, we mentioned earlier how good the 5,000's been, and with those different winners. His win came in that great race in Oslo. We'd had Aragawi winning in Lausanne, Gebriwet winning in Monaco, all around the 12:41, 42 mark. As Barrega starts pushing on, but look at Fischer, who had to watch all of the action, didn't he? So what a good run from him. He's got himself right in the mix here.
10:14 at 4,000 meters. That was a 2:31 4th kilometer. Viciously hard. Remember, the previous 2 kilometers have been 2:35 and 2:36. And then you throw in a 2:31, almost 4-minute miling pace, and that is going to hurt. And it's given him this massive lead. He's gone through that with 2 laps to run, and he's got fully 50 meters lead now over Barrega and Grijalva and Grant Fischer, who has worked his way up. And that's interesting. Germa has dropped out. Now, I always think that steeplechasers make great 5,000 meter runners, or they should, but it's been too much for him tonight. It's been very tough. 2 laps to go and he's dropped out. That is extraordinary, because you've done 90% of the work, really, and psychologically you're almost within touch of the finish.
I don't think he's very used to coming 4th, 5th or 6th, Tim, and well, you're right though. I think you're another couple of laps surely, so that's a shame he's gone. But look at this, Kejelcha, well, how impressive is this? A 60, a 61, another 60. He's completely ripped this apart. Those 3 now grappling for 2nd, 3rd, 4th. Grijalva sitting there to be got at, if you like, but I love what Kejelcha's done to them.
Coming to the bell then, Kejelcha this time, 11:47, there or thereabouts at the bell at 61.7. He had a 61 and a 60 before that. He covered the 1,200 meters to 4K in about 3:02, 3:03. It's a superb performance, this, lapping, averaging 61 seconds per lap now, down the back straight. He's truly dominant here. He looks fresh. He looks like a man running with a bit of anger maybe in his belly after that performance at the World Championships, 5th in Budapest. And he knows he's better than that. And into the final turn now. The gap back to this really strong trio behind him is fully 65 meters. I mean, it's massive. It's most of the final bend. They go into the final bend. Barrega kicks away. Grant Fischer goes with him. Grijalva, is he going to finish 4th yet again here tonight in Zurich? As Kejelcha halfway down the home straight, strides away, looks full of running, looks like he could go round again. Those long, lean legs take him to the line, and the time 12:46.91. And I bet you that is the biggest finishing winning margin when somebody's run 12:46 ever at 5,000 meters. I mean, he has destroyed that really strong field at 12:46. He's won it there by some 8 seconds, about 7.5 seconds. Yeah, he's out on his back. He's entitled to be tired. Of course, everybody tired emotionally and physically from those World Championships in Budapest, where the constant heat and humidity was sapping.
Well, record attempt for Duplantis, 3rd attempt. That's better, but no. Well, he knew that was closer. He has to reach his limit at some point. I doubt this is it. But each time now, it's going to get harder and harder for him to go higher. It wasn't hard for Kejelcha, though. That was superb. And as Tim said, that's a big winning margin against those guys. Barega, 10,000 meter medalist at the championships. Kejelcha didn't win a medal in the 5,000. Fischer making up for the season he's had, perhaps with a good third finish there. Grijalva. Does he live at number 44? He's probably got 4 of everything at home. It's such a shame.
Oh, what do they call it? In Spain, they call it the chocolate medal, 4th place.
Oh, did they?
Who wants it? Yeah. and I heard it said in Spanish, and it sounds wonderful. It's just like really appropriate. Who wants it? It's going to melt in the sunshine.
Yeah, shame that Germa dropped out. I saw Woody Kincaid dropped out with a lap to go as well. And yes, so then it was all because of Kejelcha, as I said, between 3 and 4K, just threw in a couple of, well, he just kept going at that pace, didn't he? 60, 61, 60, 60, picked up on the last lap, and in great shape, wasn't able to do it. Yeah, I don't think enough's been made of how hot it was in Budapest, you know, how much that really did affect those races in the 5 and the 10,000.
That is brilliant. Sorry, Steve. That is brilliant from Kejelcha. He just can't seem to get it right on the big occasions these days. He's always there or thereabouts, but usually not on the rostrum. Wonderful in one-off races. Maybe that's the problem. He's great on the circuit. 12:46.91.
So Vadlec in the javelin. The world champion Chopra having a bit of a difficult night tonight. So Vadlec in second place at the moment, behind Weber of Germany. That might take the lead, though. We haven't had anybody over 85 yet. The lead is 84.75 in the second round. But that could be good enough. Chopra only with 1 legal throw. That was in round 1, around 80 meters. 85.86 for Vadlec. He takes the lead. The world bronze medalist. There you go, Weber now in second. Not a great night, no, it's completely still. And as that gets towards the 5th round, we've already had, as we mentioned earlier on, the conclusion of the 5th round in Tajay Gale, Jarian Lawson and Tentoglu, the 3 men who've made it through.
Interesting, isn't it, Steve? It really hasn't been the biggest of nights for the long jumpers, struggling to reach much more than 8 meters and a few centimeters, most of them. But it is a contest, first of all. Then performances themselves are of secondary importance, I think you can fairly say. Tajay Gale, 8:07 in round 4. He opened with no jump, then a 7:86. He kept building a 7:96 in round 3, then 8:07. Then another no jump in round 5 to bookend the rounds 2, 3 and 4. Well, what can he do here? We know he's a great performer. Gale, bronze medalist, world champion back in 2019 in Doha. Good speed, nice little acceleration there into the bar, into the takeoff board. Does he hurt himself? Just struggling to get any air, aren't they? And actually only just on the board, giving away a lot of ground. It's a tantalizing series because he's actually jumped, what, 8:06 there in the 6th and final round to have the 2 best jumps of the competition so far. But Lawson and Tentoglu could catch him, and when Tentoglu's yet to come, you know you've got to be chewing your fingernails because he is a last round specialist. He hates being beaten.
Jarian Lawson sneaked in there. I have to mention that Juska of Czech Republic in the 5th round did jump 8:04, but on countback, Tentoglu, with his next best jump of 8 meters, has made it in. But Lawson with a chance then. 8.7, 8.5 for him in the 5th round. Can the American do it? Doesn't need much. No. Yeah, it's just transferring that speed. He's quick as well on the runway, isn't he? And looked as though he was a bit behind the board there. So Lawson not able to improve matters. A little bit extra to give. So there's no plasticine anymore. We're having a discussion about it. It's that plastic strip that's there now, and that's what McLeod slipped on, and he had that sort of dive through the air, didn't he? But it certainly hurt him, and it meant that Tajay Gale, this man here, jumped the same distance as his teammate had at 8:27 in the final round and took the bronze medal on countback. So now both of these men will now watch Tentoglou, and I'm sure do what he does, Tim. He has this incredible habit of, in the final round, just being able to produce enough to win.
Doesn't he just? Yeah, he's a difficult competitor. He really is. Remember, 8:52 in the final round to deny Pinnock in Budapest. Here he goes. Oh, and I think he's done it again. I think he's done it again. He is such a brilliant competitor. His series, 7.95, really modest opener. Then the 8.04, that's his best, and by his standards, that's a modest best jump from 5 efforts. Then 7.96, oh, 8.20, booms out to a comfortable victory eventually, yet again. He really does get on top of it, this man, on top of that competitive element. Previously a parkour specialist, his first athletics event was high jump. Well, Miltos, as his nickname is, moves to the top with 8.20. As a child, his dream was to become a MotoGP rider. Well, next best dream is to be a sporting hero, I guess, in a more physical sense, and 8.20 tonight gives a real sheen of strong respectability to this result. He wins comfortably from Gale's 8.07 and Lawson's 8.05.
Well, yet another great conclusion to the long jump. Tentoglou does it again. Happy knack of winning. So who's going to come out on top in the women's hurdles? Sadly, we've had the withdrawal of Jasmine Camacho-Quinn, who just missed out on winning the gold medal in the World Championships, to Danielle Williams, who is here. So Megan Tapper, you can see, there's been brought in as Camacho-Quinn not well. Had to withdraw earlier on today. There is the two-time world champion, and it was a bit of a shock. It was Williams, who has all of the ability. Of course, you don't become world champion as she did in 2015 without that. In the intervening years, it's not been a straightforward journey for Danielle Williams, but goodness me, did she perform. It's a really good standard field here, and again there are people looking for points, particularly Charlton. She's outside the top 8, can do herself a favour with a good result here and get enough points to qualify for the final in Eugene. Taji Kambunji made it through to the World Championship final, finished 7th there. Her performance in the semi-final, 12.50, almost a personal best, really was impressive, giving the Swiss something to cheer about. So now the two-time world champion, and if you want to know about times, and you know, she's only the joint 9th fastest in the season, but she's the world champion. That's what matters. It's winning on the big day in this event, being smooth and controlled, delivering when it matters, so important. Near Ali, well, she knows what it's like to be a world champion. For her, sadly, couldn't get out of the semi-finals. And Kenny Harrison, the Olympic silver medalist, had to settle for bronze when I think she thought there was a big opportunity for her. Of course, Camacho-Quinn was going to be difficult to beat. But when Camacho-Quinn didn't get the best of starts, she might have thought she's got a great opportunity, but Williams was so good. Then Tia Jones, 22-year-old, 5th in the US champs, getting better all of the time. Alicia Johnson, she missed the team by an inch. She was actually 4th in the champs with the same time as Russell, I think it was, who was 3rd there. So she, again, didn't get to go to Budapest. Megan Tapper did. Fourth in the semi-final. Olympic bronze medalist 2 years ago. Pia Skrzyszowska, well, had a great indoor season, the European champion, then got injured and took a while to get a season going. But started to run some quick times in August. Didn't quite perform in the semis as she would have liked, but is capable. So Charlton right over on the far side, then Kambunji, then the world champion Williams is in 3, near Ali in 4, Harrison's in 5, Jones in 6, Johnson in 7. 4 Americans together in the middle lanes, then Tapper of Jamaica, Skrzyszowska of Poland in lane 9. Women's 100 hurdles. Not a breath of wind. It's a little chilly now, though. Do you know, earlier on, Tim, I was watching we had some 100-meter races and things, and there was setting that, I think we've got a different starter. That starter was kind of set, go. This one, there's a little bit of a hold. You heard all the camera clicking, didn't you?
Yeah, that was a very, very long hold.
Yeah, just there was a Skrzyszowska, others were all twitching. We should have gone, but they didn't. Yeah. I think that will be a green card. Actually, coming out with a yellow card for Skrzyszowska, I think that's a little unfair.
Well, she's still in there, at least it's not a disqualification, but she's able to smile. I had a chat with her earlier at the World Championships. Very, very calm, very positive, cheerful young athlete, the European champion.
She's in the Laurent Muley group with coaches Femke Ball and Klaver and others. So the European champion with a yellow card against her, a warning. She's in 9, just to remind you. Charlton's in 1, Kambunji in 2. Then we've got the world champion in 3. Then Ali, Harrison, Jones, Johnson, Tapper, Skrzyszowska. They get away this time. Harrison gets a very good start, so does Charlton over in 1, but the world champion Williams is just about ahead at the moment. She's got a half a yard on the field. Can she last this out? They're all charging fast, but Williams wins it. 12:53. Harrison might have hung on for second place there. Well, she got a decent start, did Danielle Williams, but by hurdle 3, it established herself in the front and then just kept her rhythm. Maybe just lost it a little bit, lost a little bit of speed over the last 2 flights as the others were charging through. 12:54 a winning time, 400ths to spare. It's not a lot, but in the hurdles, it's everything, isn't it? Johnson actually just got ahead of Harrison, ahead of a teammate for the second spot there. It's amazing, isn't it, when all of a sudden, you know, you're not really winning races, you're not really getting the times, you win the World Championships, and then everybody turns to you. Danielle Williams comes straight off that World Championship win and gets a Diamond League win here in Zurich, and that's her first Diamond League win of the season.
Well, all credit, Steve, to Danielle Williams for coming out of the block so well and holding her form, because the pressure was being applied. Kendra Harrison was trying desperately to get back at her, and around flight 6 or 7 I thought she was going to get there. I thought she would come through building momentum, but Danielle Williams stayed calm, kept her form and kept that lead, and actually won not by a big margin, but by 100-meter hurdle standards by daylight, 12:54 to 12:58. Danielle Williams there, third to right in lane 3. Clear lead over the first 3 or 4 flights. Look at in the pink headband, you can see Kenny Harrison trying to get back at her. Doesn't get there, and in fact gets passed by Alicia Johnson. Just superb from Danielle Williams, and underlines the validity, if you like, of that win in Budapest.
I don't think that's the point, Tim, isn't it? You know, there's nothing worse than, it's hard for athletes who've had to deal with everything when you win and all of the adulation and the press and what have you, but then to come straight back into the first big meet, and particularly in the 100 hurdles, which, you know, we can have this event 8, 9, 10 times in the season and could get 5 or 6 different winners. So to come back and win, hats off to her, really good performance. So Danielle Williams, 12:54, the winning time, confirms her place as world number 1. Selfies are great, aren't they? Better than autographs. Here we go, javelin.
Chopra then, in the javelin, as you say, Steve, quite rightly. He is the Olympic champion, he is the world champion. Round 5, 80.79 so far for Chopra. That was in the first round, and that's better. That's over 85 meters. This lad, well, he's a bit of a pin-up. India, by the way, at the World Championships, had the winner and then 5th and 6th in that javelin final. They're a growing force in this discipline and in the sport of track and field athletics generally. I call them the sleeping giants of athletics, India. You just wait, give him another few years. He won with his round 2 throw in Budapest. That was 88.70, and he's building nicely here tonight.
So Oliver Helander from Finland, can he get in with the big 3? Vadlets, Chopra, Weber at the minute. Last chance to get there, and that's not going to be far enough. Decent effort though from Helander. 81.63 was his best up to this point, but that's going to well, I wouldn't say well, but it is below 85 meters, and he needed to be beyond 85.04 were he to sneak into the top 3 right at the end. So it's looking like the 3 big names are going to be contesting the final 3. Chopra says, well done, good effort, not close, but not quite enough. 83.65.
Here's Weber then, Julian Weber of Germany. Now, 5th attempt for Weber. He's already thrown 85.04 in round 4. He's less than a meter down on the lead, but that's not enough. No improvement. Stays in the top 3, of course. Vadlec in round 4, 85.86. Chopra, 85.22. Weber, 85.04. And then Helander of Finland with his round 5 effort in 4th place. So the final round to come, it will just involve those top 3.
Yeah, there's Peters is still to go, but he hasn't been in the form to affect that, so we'll concentrate on the 200 next.
We will indeed. There is the man of the moment, the man perhaps of the World Championships last week in Budapest. 3 gold medals he left Hungary with, Noah Lyles. He goes in lane 6, great lane draw for the individual 100 and 200 champion and winner in the 4x100 as well. There is Benarek, Kenny Benarek, 5th in Budapest over 200. He's a great athlete, strong over 400, strong over 100. There's Arian Knighton, silver medalist. He's still just 19 years old. He is the US champion. Of course, Lyles didn't contest the US championships over 200. He was a defending champion, so he had a bye into the Worlds. Here is Lyles. That US record of Michael Johnson, 19.32. Is that his target? It might have been if it had been a warmer night and a bit of a following wind. He's 3rd fastest all time. Bolt might be a meter or 2 further down the track, but how he'd love to improve upon. In fact, just checking, he has that 1931 US record. Zarnell Hughes goes in 5, 4th in Budapest after that 100 bronze. The Briton, good lane draw for him, chasing Lyles. Can he catch him over the first half? Andre de Grasse, the Olympic champion, of course, the Canadian champion this year, 10th fastest in history. Not in great form this year, 6th in Budapest. Owen Brown went out in his heats of the World Championships, the Canadian, who was 6th in Tokyo. In lane 2, William Reis of Switzerland, a semi-finalist in Budapest. He is the Swiss champion over 100 and 200. Won the European Under-23s back in 2021. Now he's in the big pond with the big fellas. And Joshua Hartmann of Germany went out in the heats in Budapest, the German champion. Best of 20.02 though in Kassel back in early July. If he can replicate that here tonight, he'll be very much in the mix. So Zarnell Hughes quite capable of being the quickest over the first 100, but can he put it together through the second 100 as well? The Briton goes in 5, Lyles goes in 6. He's talked about getting that world record of Bolt 19.19, which goes all the way back to 2009, 14 years ago now, but I think tonight's quite possibly not warm enough to be the night. De Grasse in 4, Hughes in 5, Lyles in 6, Arian Knighton in 7. Now watch Knighton, silver medalist in Budapest, and Benarek in 8. Wait for time. Well, very, very even around the bend there between the men in the outside lanes. In fact, beginning now to build a lead is Lyles. He's always stronger down the home straight. Is he going to be on this occasion? Here comes Knighton. Knighton challenging, and Hughes working hard too, but Lyles so strong over the last 40. Gets it by the best part of a metre from Knighton. Hughes in 3rd place, back in lane 5. And the winning time, 19.80. That is one of the performances of the night on this cool evening. Because, Steve, you're in short sleeves there. I mean, I know you're from the north of England, but you've been moaning about how cold it is. I thought you were tough. Anyway, 19.80 to 19.87 from Knighton. Hughes, 19.94. That is great sprinting over 200 in far from ideal conditions, but Lyles supreme once again. And I think, you know, he's much stronger at 200 than he is at 100. And he ran in the US Championships. He was well beaten in the 100, but tonight, unbeatable at 200. And as it turned out, with the greater warmth and having eased into the task a bit more later in the season, unbeatable over 100 in Budapest as well, Steve. That's impressive. First 4 well below 20.
Yeah, high quality race. He had to fight for that, didn't he? There was no showboating there. Couldn't relax. Had to really scrap for the win there, put under pressure, particularly by Knighton. Didn't run a great bend, Lyles, and that sometimes can be his downfall. I mean, when he does it well, he is the best 200-meter runner in the world, but this time didn't think he got out as well, and he's got Benarek and Knighton, and then Hughes isn't far away, and he must have felt as he was coming into this bit, and then this is where you transition into the home straight. He's normally carrying a lot more pace. He didn't have that there, so then he's got to really just keep maintaining as much as he can. And this is where you just think, is Knighton going to come and just sneak by him? But look at how much he's working hard for that. And that's what, that's what you want. You want people like Lyles to really want to win, not to give it up. He's beginning to look at the clock. I don't think he might have known it was that fast. He had to concentrate on the win there. But it's good to see him scrapping for it. And maybe thought I was being pushed to something quicker. Maybe thought he was having to work and therefore was running more like 19.6, 19.5. But as you said, 4 under 20, high class.
I thought Knighton was going to get past him with about 50 to go. I thought Knighton was coming, it was coming, but it didn't materialise. And Lyles, of course, wonderful competitor, so strong with that 300-metre speed, much the stronger over the last 50. He responded.
Well, here's our final 3 in the javelin. So it will be Vadlec to go first. So basically we go in the order in which they lie in the competition, but there was really less than a metre to choose between them. Vadlec 85.86, Chopra, the world champion, 85.22, and Weber 85.04. And again, if you're still getting your head around this, these 3 men, this is a kind of a normal 6th round. So the distance you've thrown is still counts. If you improve it here, great. If you don't, stay where you are. So Vadlec, bronze medalist in that high quality competition in Budapest. Would love to get the win here. That crowd really engaged in this on the bottom bend. Olympic silver medalist. Here he goes. No. Well, he was trying to find something extra there, lost his technique, and has to sit and watch now. 85.86 for the Czech man. you're just getting a feeling, aren't you, that Chopra will find something. He sort of improved as the competition went on. He's only had 2 legal throws. His best came in the 4th round. He will not want to get beat, surely.
So, Chopra then, getting the crowd behind him. He's getting into the mood, isn't he? Don't see him too often in Europe on the Diamond League circuit, but it's wonderful to see him here tonight. In 2nd place, are we going to see another world champion beaten here tonight? We started off the evening with Barholm getting beaten over 400-meter hurdles. Chopra, 6th and final round, needs to find another half meter or so. Is that the one? Well, I'm not sure it is. It's over 85 meters, but I'm not sure it's enough. 85, 86, he's got to find. 85.22 in round 4. I think it will be a tantalizing few centimeters shy. He's only had 2 valid throws. 85.71, he's 15 centimeters short. And Badalec of the Czech Republic, well, has all but won this, although Julian Weber of Germany yet to take his 6th round effort. That's a great response from Chopra, but just not quite enough. Weber then. Now, the door is ajar. Nice series from him, 84.75 in round 2, 85.04 in round 4, 82 he threw in round 5, but he's got to find less than a meter to snatch the lead from this pair. Has he hit that one right? Has he hit that one right? No, it's a solid effort. It's very nearly on the 85-meter line. But the win goes to the World Championship bronze medalist, Jakub Badalec of the Czech Republic, 85-86. Could hardly have been tighter. Less than a meter covering the first 3 here tonight. And indeed, Oliver Hlander, a great 4th place with 83.65, only a metre and a half further back. 84.92 for Weber. He is the European champion from last year, where he beat Badalec into silver medal place. But he has to settle for 3rd here tonight. Neeraj Chopra of India, their athletic darling, has to settle for 2nd at Weltklasse 2023. And Jakub Badalec, well, that is one that he can record and talk to his grandkids about.
That's 2 for him. Won in Monaco, Tim, winning again. He's been in the top 3 in each of the Diamond League, the 4 javelin competitions.
You know, his was one of only 2 medals that the Czech Republic won. The other was in the mixed relay, mixed 4x400 meter relay. They didn't have a great championships like so many nations in Budapest. It's tough these days at global level. A genuine world championship with dozens of nations getting amongst the medals.
46, I think it was, won medals, and yes, none for Germany, 1 for France. So a 2 for Czech Republic. It doesn't look as bad. Well, in the relay, there was all sorts of fun and games, wasn't there? Great performance from the USA there. Jamaica did their big guns. Elaine Thompson-Herod did run the final, and then Shelly-Ann Fraser-Price pulled up. And 3 teams here didn't get the baton round. Australia, with the same team here, they didn't finish in the heats, and the same 4 are getting a chance to shine here. And the Dutch in the final with this quartet, having run pretty impressively in the heats, where they ran 42.5. Again, didn't get the baton round. Neither did the Swiss with this quartet, so doesn't bode well, does it? But let's hope that here in Zurich they can do better. They'll be the 3 best teams there. Portugal are on the outside, so lanes 7, 6, and 5. Finland will be in 4. Austria are going to be in lane 3. Led off by Posch. Schuler on the last leg for them. And then the Swiss number 2 team. So none of the Kambunjis running, neither Mujinga or Titaji. Fair Titaji ran just a few minutes ago. And then a Norwegian team with Line Kloster on the inside. Now, quite a lot of these women ran in a couple of 100-meter races before the Diamond League program earlier on this evening. There was an A and B 100 meters. And Frey, who's on the third leg for Switzerland, won the A race. So their team, Cooney, Cora, Frey, Gutschmidt, the quartet that took part in the World Championships. As I said, though, that like the Netherlands, didn't manage to get the baton round. So they're in 5, Netherlands in 6, Australia in lane 7. Final event of the evening, 4x100 relay. Pretty even start. Shido always gets away quickly for the Dutch and has perhaps taken a meter outside of Cooney of Switzerland. So the Dutch will hand over first if it's safe. Australia going well outside them as well. But it's the Dutch team who probably got a meter or so trying to hang on to it. It's closing up now down the back straight onto the second change. All 3 of them safely with the baton in hand round the top bend. The Swiss crowd are on their feet here, looking for a home victory right at the very end. One more change to make. They perhaps got the lead here. That's better. The Dutch just faltered a little bit, so the Swiss have it, and they're coming away. It's going to be close on the line. They'll be chased down by the Dutch team. Who gets the win? Oh, they'll fall! In her attempt to hang on. Well, Gia of the Netherlands, there she is, was finishing so quickly, and Gutschmidt did a very, very best. But it was a feature, wasn't it, or seemed to be a feature of the World Championships. Athletes stretching for the line before it comes to you, and then so doing, falling forwards, threw herself at it, but the Netherlands with the win there, charging down the home straight. What a difference in their physique as well. Gia is a very, very tall athlete who took a while to get up to her top speed, whereas Gutschmidt was away and gone, or seemed to be away and gone. She's looks okay, happy enough. Well, she won't be happy that she fell over, obviously, but everyone's checking that she's all right. As expected, those 3 teams are better than the rest that were out there, but it's Netherlands who take the win.
Well, no one will ever question the commitment of Gutschmidt of Switzerland there in lane 5. Takes over the baton, was lightning quick in the pickup. Snatched a meter at the changeover there, better changeover than the Dutch. And Gia, the huge figure, towers over her. Talk about little and large. She worked so hard to get there, and I'll tell you what, if Gutschmidt had been able to stay on her feet, I think she'd have probably taken that. But Gia assisted there. I mean, she's twice the size of the little Swiss. That's a brilliant battle. The meter's a gap there. It's still nearly a meter here. But you can tell that Gutschmidt could sense the Dutch coming, and the legs were going, crosses the line horizontal. And a fighting second, albeit down below the photo finish camera equipment, Steve. What how they worked out that time, unless it's a vertical strip. I always thought it was a one line. I remember Colin Jackson used to cross the line with his torso horizontal and sometimes go under the device.
Well, at least Gutschmidt hung on to the baton as well, really important. So the Swiss didn't get the win at the end, but it's been a good night, Tim.
That is almost all from us here on BBC Two. We'll be back on Saturday. The Diamond League moves to China for the first time since 2019. Coverage starts at midday. Remember, if you want to watch anything back from tonight or from the World Championships, BBC iPlayer is the place to go. There's plenty on BBC Sounds as well, with the All About Athletics podcast available now. Live cricket to come tomorrow as England play New Zealand in a T20 match. That on BBC Two from 5:30. It's been a fantastic evening in Zurich. Some stories tonight. Karen McMaster being the world record holder. Carsten Verholm, of course. We've seen, again, impressive stuff from, as ever, Josh Knott in the end getting himself over the line in time. And Laura Muir winning the 800 meters. But from me and the team, that's all from us in Zurich. Goodbye.